listen to this. Trent compared him to Dan Marino and Aaron Rodgers. Talk about high praise there. Max, what is your reaction to Trent's assessment, and where do you think he should go?
I thought very highly of Tua, as you know, before I heard that. Dilfer really knows what he's looking at and has been very good, you know, with a number of projections for a number of quarterbacks through the years. He understands it. When I hear him compare Tua to Marino and Rodgers, that's when my ears really perk up. Marino and Rodgers, see, the thing I think about Tua is he's super accurate and he can make all the throws. But I don't think of him as having amazing arm strength. You know, Dilfer talks a lot and has talked in the past about the difference between arm strength and arm talent. I thought of Tua as a real high arm talent guy. But when you start getting compared to Aaron Rodgers and Dan Marino, you're saying, hey, this is when you combine the strength, the accuracy, and decision-making, by the way, you're talking about the real special talents. Favre had the most electric arm I've seen maybe until Mahomes. But Favre was not as precise and not as and his decision-making wasn't as good. Peyton Manning made better decisions week in and week out, but did not have the kind of arm strength that some of those other guys. When you say Marino and Rodgers, good Lord. The thing about Tua remains the health, but that is it. And that's why we debated on this show. I said, even if you're taking first, you have to at least consider Tua. To compare him to Marino and Rodgers is something for Dilfer to do.
I will say this to you. First of all, I miss Trent Dilfer. Trent Dilfer is an outstanding analyst. He does a hell of a job. The man knows his football.
He is.
Okay, and when he's talking football, people need to listen because he knows what the hell he's talking about. And in his presentation and the way he articulates his thoughts or whatever, I mean, it makes you feel right at home. Trent Dilfer is the real deal in that regard. And so when he speaks, I'm going to listen to what he has to say. And then, but in this particular case, I really didn't need it. I've been a fan of Tua since the moment I was at the national championship game in that end zone suite, Max, with your man Nick Khan, and we were all hanging out there. And Tua came into the second half after Jalen Hurts was stinking up the joint in the first half. I love Jalen Hurts, and I'm proud of him, and I wish him nothing but the best in his NFL career because I think he'll have one. But that particular national championship game, he in the first half, he just wasn't that great. And Tua came in, Nick Saban puts him in at halftime, and he delivers a national championship and brings them back. I think it was like a 13-0 deficit and ultimately threw the game-winning touchdown overtime. He was outstanding. I've been a Tua fan ever since that day. He comes back the next year, he completes 69% of his passes. Last year, before he gets hurt against Mississippi State, he completes 71% of his passes. 33 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions. The brother can play. You give him some weapons, he can do some big things. His durability is the only question mark. It's a significant question mark for me because if you are that questionable in terms of your durability on a collegiate level, what are you going to do when you got to go up against grown men with money on the line and the ability to pay their mortgages, feed their families, keep a roof over their head? These are grown men, and the level of intensity, the level of veracity elevates exponentially. And because of that, I worry about his health. I don't think there's any way around that. But outside of that, I know he can fling that football. He can also run a little bit with the football as well. So we can't ignore that, and we can't ignore the fact that if he were healthy, there would be a legitimate debate. Just imagine what this show would be like and how much college football we would be doing if Tua had never gotten hurt and Tua was 100% healthy, and he and Joe Burrow were both available like they are now for this NFL draft, but without Tua's injury history. We would be having debates every day, hearing from everyone across the country, who you going to take number one? Because that's how good Tua is. Obviously, Joe Burrow was sensational this year. This dude is the real deal. And if I'm the Dolphins, I certainly don't let him slide past 5, no way in hell. And if I'm the New England Patriots, if I'm Bill Belichick, I try to somehow finagle my relationship with Matt Patricia and figure out a way for me to trade up to get him, because I'll be damned if I'm going to rely on Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah, I think Detroit would be smart to take him and trade Stafford. And as I said, I think the Patriots are a good destination for Stafford. But I want to go back to Dilfer and what he said about Tua.
I can live with that,
you know,
too.
I make the distinction. and I've done it on this show about the difference between better and greater. Right? Like, who's Tom Brady's the GOAT. I don't think he's the best I've ever seen. I would say until Mahomes came along, that was Aaron Rodgers. But he is really great and also the most accomplished. A lot in football, I think, on who's the GOAT at the quarterback position depends on the coaching. You know, if you have a really great quarterback and he's with arguably the best coach ever, it'll tend to be considered the GOAT. Joe Montana once upon a time, Tom Brady now. But guys, in both those eras, if you really said, you talk to a lot of football people, say, who was better? You know, given all the same circumstances around them, which is impossible, but who was better? Back then, everyone knew, well, you know, Marino's better than Montana, but you'd rather have Montana somehow. A lot of that had to do with Walsh. You know, Rodgers is better than Brady, but you'd rather have Brady. A lot of that has to do with Belichick. When you compare someone to Rodgers and Marino, you're comparing him to the best who ever did it. Skills-wise, as we say, talent-wise, the top of the food chain. Even among the all-time greats, they stand out. Oh, my God, what high praise from Dilfer to Tua.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.